He's got one more at the back of the fridge and he needs some more making up. Did you hear that?
I'll take that. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. I'm faster than Tardock! Yes! I'm faster than Tardock! Sorry. Yeah, I am. I am. I'm happy. I'm just happy that I'm quicker than Tardock at the moment. But then come race pace, he's just gonna fuck off from me. He's just gonna be like, bye, see ya. Eat my dust.
I didn't want to be the one to bring you back to reality.
Yeah, I already know. I'm just yeah. I feel good about myself.
And also, you got to do it in qualifying.
Yeah, quali's gonna be difficult. I'm not going to lie. Proper difficult.
Serious question. What's trail braking?
Do you actually not know what trail braking is? Like for real?
Not 100% sure, no.
Oh my god.
Dan, that's mean. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh.
Alright. Honestly, dude, this is where I'm struggling. This is where I need to learn.
Realistically,
Clouden don't know either.
what do you mean I don't? Of course I
The
know.
way you were saying it then, you were like, really? Oh, Tardock's just gone faster.
Oh, you bastard. Realistically, with trail braking, you want to smash the pedal, but then just kind of how to put it, like not when you come towards the apex of the corner, you want to like start lifting off the brake and like roll into it. If that makes sense. I'm just ignoring the freaking pagan here on the other end of the fucking headset. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Your best bet is to YouTube it, if anything. That it'll be better.
Trail braking is releasing the brake pressure as you turn.
Right.
As force works, when you hit the brake pedal and you try to turn, your wheels aren't going to do anything, are they? Because they're slowing down.
Yeah.
So as you hit the brakes hard, they lock, and when they lock, they don't turn, they just go straight on. When you release the brake pedal, you're then able to turn ever so slightly more. So the more you release the brake pedal, the more you're able to turn. For example, the corner just before Cheetah, that's a corner you need to learn to trail brake, because you're constantly turning. So as you brake, you then release the brake pedal, and as you start to release the brake pedal, you start to turn in.
There you go, he's explained it better than I could. Basically, that's what I wanted to try and explain, but I couldn't explain it.
You're basically trying to explain releasing the brake pedal as you turn.
There you go, you got it in a nutshell.
I'm autistic,
I can't explain shit proper.
The best way to get it into your head is when you go down to turn one, absolutely nail it down to turn one and hit the brakes as hard as you can and try and turn. The thing's just going to lock up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you hit the brakes hard and then start releasing the brakes, you're able to start turning because they're not going to lock. They're able to still roll. That's trail braking.
Okay.
Anyway,
in a nutshell.
Peoples, I am going to skedaddle off and I am going to
Dude.
prepare myself, so I will catch you lot.
You're going to go play with yourself.
Have a good one, dude. Best luck.
Thank you, same to you. Laters.
Tordock's faster than you. But Tordock went very fucking wide.
Oh, shit. That's where I didn't post the stream.
Fucking hell, O'Reilly's struggling.
Yeah, McLaren's not great around here.
Anyway, best luck, Matt. I'll
Cheers,
catch
dude.
you all
Have a
later.
good one. See you later, dude.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to SimPlay Motorsport. My name is Dan Davis, and I'll be bringing you all the action here live from Kyle Army for the round 6 of the championship for the GT4 class. And we're coming to the halfway stage of the season. This season has gone really quickly, and like I said, we're already to the halfway point of the season. We're in South Africa for the next round of the season, and like I said, we are here live at Kyle Army, and what a circuit that we are at. Very tight, very twisty, and you can already see a couple of the cars that are small and nimble will definitely suit this circuit a lot. So let's hear you guys on the chat. Let's hear you in this chat so that we can have a little debate going on what's going on here this evening. We've got a lot to talk about this evening with loads and loads of drivers on track, and obviously we've got different classes as well. We've got platinum, silver and bronze all in here, or gold, silver and bronze all in here, and I'll try my very best to keep up to date who is top of what class. But as you can see, the ballast already kicking in here. As you can see, a lot of the drivers with the ballast added to their cars really suffering at the minute. But currently, at the moment, it is Tordok who is in second at the minute, but it is Sylph in the Ginetta looking mighty, small, light and nimble, and that is what they needed around this circuit here tonight. But Tordok currently sat second with Jamal Clouden in that third place, and Dan Taylor in the Ginetta looking very strong as well. The Mercedes-Benz of Hibbs sat currently in fifth place with McGowan in sixth, Fernie in seventh, and Duffin currently in eighth, Old Sim Racer in ninth, Matt Wright in 10th, O'Brien in 11th and O'Reilly in 12th. Your championship leader currently a second off the pace at a minute and showing what the ballast is doing to his car. So, a quick rundown of the championship standings. It is this man, Kieran O'Reilly, leading the way ahead of the man in second place, Tordok, with Sil sat in P3 in the championship. Clouden in P4 with Will Friedman in P5. P6 is Carlos. Well, P7 is Hooper. P8 is McGowan. P9 is Duffin with Hibbs in P10. Wright in P11 with Stardog in 12th. Ramsell in 13th. Skunky in 14th place position with Goudet in 15th. Leach 16th. 17th is Taylor. O'Brien is 18th. And 19th is Old Sim Racer. Fernie is in 20th. With Unsworth in 21st, Millington in 22nd, with Hunt in 23rd. Clarball obviously going to be out for a while. He's just had an elbow operation and hope he's recovering well. He is down in 24th position with Johnson in 25th, Tipping in 26th with Vesely in 27th, Smith 28th, well, Cummings in 29th, Aberdeen in 30th, well, Marsden in 32nd, Archer 33rd, Ben Rook in 34th with the Jackal 35th, Betterston 36th, 37th is Wheel, Marshall is in 38th, and in 39th is Sky Schundermeyer. Regarding the team's championship, MSA have got a healthy lead at the minute. They are well ahead of the Greasy Bandits in that second place position. Unknown Racing in P3. P4 is Old School Racers with SimPlay Racing in P5. Quantum Motorsport in P6 with Cam Racing in P7. P8 is Blunt Force Racing with Team Tom in 9th. Piston Pumpers in 10th. Well, Piston Pounders are in 11th. Roadrunner Motors in 12th with Star Wolf Racing in 13th. 14th is Audio Sport. 15th is RB GT Team. Old Git Racing in 16th. And in 17th is Lexi Industries Racing. So that is the look of the championship standings. And also, this is a quick look at the circuit here tonight where we are racing. Like I said, Kyalami circuit length is 1.8 miles long and kilometers in 4.5. Number of corners is 15, 9 to the left, 6 to the right, and pole position will start on the left-hand side. The ACC lap record goes to a 139.3, and that is held by the BMW M4 GT3. The most successful driver around here is Ripper. We haven't seen Uik the Ripper for a while, and he is your current most successful driver around here, and I believe that was in the Audi days. So nice to see that as well. But a good evening to everybody here. It's nice to see you all in the chat. We got Tracy, Benny, and Phil all in the chat. As I will get rid of the track map and get us back to the action. Obviously, not much going on at the minute. Last minute tweaks and changes to the drivers, and hopefully, if we get a driver coming into the final sector, we got 67, I think. 67. Who is that? That is Tipping, and I think. Well, on board with Tipping, we'll take a lap around this fantastic circuit of Kyalami. Make sure you get a decent exit out of the final corner and head your way down towards turn number 1. Flat out all the way down. The Ginetta going to be banging on the limiter as it comes down. Brake at the 100-meter board, dropping down the gears into turn number 1. And let the car roll in. Try and get a good exit as then you head up towards turn number 2. As you're through into 2, through to 3, and then up to 4. Braking as you're turning, try and get the front to bite and get a good exit to then lead your way down this little straight and then head towards the fast right-hander. Good evening to Ian in the chat and evening to Clarball in the chat. Hope you're resting well, buddy. Into the fast right-hander of 5. Easy on the throttle. Do not want to get on the throttle too early as you'll understeer wide as you then head into turn 6. Brake just after the 50-meter board. Down 2 gears. Get the front turned in. Get a good exit out of the corner. So then lead yourself down into 7. Brake downhill. Try and take as much curve as you can on the inside while settling the car into 8. Be a little bit patient on the throttle. Get on the throttle as soon as you can and let it run wide. Through 9, not really a corner, and then up towards turn number 10. Braking just before the curve. Down the gears. Get the front turned in. And try and get the best exit through 11. And then heading down to 12. Fast left-hander. Again, pretty much flat through here. Down towards 12. Then just it again, awkward braking as you're turning and braking or braking a straight line into this right-hander, and then coming to the most famous corner on this circuit that everybody hates. It's the cheetah. Brake just before the curb, down the gear, turn in, and hope it grips. Tipping, staying well away from the curb, and then heading towards the final corner, braking at the 50 board. Get the front turned in, and try and get a good exit out to the corner. He's currently 2 seconds off the pace. Hopefully this lap is an improvement for him, and he comes to the line. No improvement there for Tipping, but nonetheless a great little lap there from him, and thank you very much to the Ginetta driver for demonstrating a lap around Kyalami. So we got everybody in the chat. Ben, g'day, Dan and co, how we doing? Great day to be watching some racing from our houseboat. Oh, very nice there, Benny. And yeah, hopefully we got some great action for you this week. It's going to be there's some weather lurking around actually for the Pro-Ams and Pro. So we'll see if a bit of rain might cause a little bit of chaos later on this week. Dan Taylor looking quite strong at the minute in his Ginetta, and you can see the Ginetta seems to be quite a powerful car around here. You can see the McLaren struggling, and while we're at it, let's have a look at the tables. Drivers that are currently carrying the weight. We have at the top Sills, he's carrying 30 kilos on board, but does not seem to be affecting the Ginetta that badly. We've also got Tordok carrying 35 kilos, with Clouden carrying 25, 5 for McGowan, and 40 for Kieran O'Reilly for being championship leader. 10 for Hooper. And I believe that is everyone else. Oh no, Will Friedman with 20 kilos on board as well. So that is a rundown, and Old Sim Racer actually has the fastest first sector of anyone at this minute in his Mercedes-Benz. But still carrying the rest of that time at the top as well. So you can see where the Ginetta is making all of its time. But Old Sim Racer, where is he on the board? He's currently in the pits. We'll see how the little Alpines will get on as well this evening. Should be a good circuit for them. Light, nimble and easy to maneuver around this circuit. So we should see a lot of the more slower, more agile cars look a lot stronger tonight. Sunrise over the water and the engines rolling over the hill. What a better way to start my holiday. Absolutely lovely. I'm very jealous, Benny. I'm very jealous. I'm surprised you've not gone to watch the Australian Grand Prix. But nonetheless, it is race day for SimPlay and for the GT4s. There's Will Friedman in the server in his Porsche. And I wonder how he's going to get on. Oh, that's a big moment there for Millington. In the wall he goes. And we'll see how they all get on this evening. Tipping currently in the pit. Stardog currently a little bit off the pace at the moment. But Vesely also just struggling with the BMW at the minute. Doesn't seem to be finding the pace at this stage. Stardog currently 2.3 off the pace. And he goes up in the 14th, so he finds a little bit more time out of the Mercedes-Benz. And pretty much everyone back in the pits except for Fernie. And we'll go on board with him just for Ian Best. Can't believe Fraser has graced us with an appearance. Yes, he has in his little Alpine. Coming to help out his teammate Matt Wright. I mean, we could make it there in the houseboat. We haven't. We aren't that far last year. So could have been interesting to watch from your houseboat. But that is the end of free practice. And right now, like I said, it's still looking quite comfortable at this minute. So the way the GT4 works and the way things work here at SimPlay Motorsport is we've just done our free practice session and we now head into race number 1. No qualifying session is required, and we head into our reverse grid race based off the championship standings. And obviously, so the likes of Kieran O'Reilly, Will Friedman, Tordock, Silth, Hooper, all going to be starting to the back end of that grid. And they have got to work their way through the order as Matt Wright comes into the final few corners now. Through the Cheetah and through into the final corner. Try and get a good exit, a good run to the line, and to finish his session off. He comes. And that is that. We got Sky Schundermeyer, who is going to be starting on pole position here tonight, and he's got Marshall with him as well. I'm just going to get the track map up so I can actually remember the names of these corners, because they've got some pretty cool names actually here at Kailami. So we got the likes of Clubhouse, the S's, Mineshaft, Crowthorne, Barbecue, Cheetah, the Crocodile, and many other fantastic names. Sunset, some I'm not even going to even try to pronounce. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting first race nonetheless. I'm going to get a poll up and going. And we will run through the grid order in a few moments' time. while we wait for the drivers to get going, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell to be notified so you don't miss any of the action here at SimPlay Motorsport. And if you do want to be a part of the action here at SimPlay Motorsport, then head over to our Discord page and also our sim grid so you can get yourself signed up. Make sure you do the hot stint and you fill out all the relatively information that we need so that we're able to get you racing, whether it's GT4s, GT3s, or any other event that we have later on in the year. Also a reminder as well, if you haven't done so, have a look at our fantastic sponsors, Design Manchester and Audio Sport as well. Give them a like and follow on their pages, on their websites, and do all those wonderful things. As we got ourselves moving away from the grid order, I will get a helicam up so that we can have a look at the drivers. So get your votes in on who you think is going to win this first race. And like I said, head over to Design Manchester, producers of vinyl, graphics, laser engraved gifts, mugs, clothing, and much, much more, including SimPlay merchandise. And have a look at Audio Sport, manufacturers of VWT4 audio solutions and styling products, www.audiosport.co.uk. Right, grid order here tonight. It's going to be Sky Schondermeyer who's going to lead them away from pole position. It's going to be Marshall in P2, Wheel in P3, with Rook in that P4 position. Marston in that P5 with Aberdeen in P6. Making up row 4 will be Smith and Vestley. Well, row 5 will be having Tipping and Millington sharing that row. Fernie will start in 11th place position with Old Sim Racer returning back to the pit, so he's not going to make the start of that. It's going to be then O'Brien moving up into that 12th place position. Taylor is going to start in 13th place position with 14th going the way of Gary Leach. I'm just going to wait for these updates so I'm able to see who's going to be where. They move to Robert Ramsell and the Cam Racing driver with Stardog with him on row position 16. Row 18 is going to see Wright and Hibbs together, with row 10 having Duffin and McGowan. Hooper in 21st position with Friedman in 22nd, Clouden 23rd, Taldock 24th, Silth 25th, and O'Reilly in 26th position, with Old Sim Racer starting from the back of the pack. Lethal and Ramsell should be strong tonight. Well, we shall see, and I think it's going to be very difficult to look past the man that is on the front of the queue. It is going to be Sky Schondermeyer to lead them away here for the first race tonight. What an interesting night's worth of racing we have ahead of us, guys. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. We are currently 9 subscribes away from 900, and then we're slowly getting to that magical number of 1,000 subscribers. So please, guys, keep what you're doing. You're doing a fantastic job, and keep the subscriptions coming in. But we are going to get ourselves underway here at Kyle Army for the first time this week. It's going to be a Porsche and an Alpine for the front row. Sky Schondermeyer versus Lexi for the front row. She'll be bringing you all the action tomorrow night for the Pro-Ams, and for the pros it'll be Matthew Duffin and Kelly Davis, sweet and sticky in your box. But right now we are primarily focusing on the GT4s as we now wait for the green. We are green and racing at Kyle Army, and you can see already Lexi getting swamped by the pack as Ben and Wheel go close together, and just behind them is Aberdeen, and contact is made. Ben has made contact and Aberdeen has caused a little bit of chaos as they all head up towards turn number 1. Cars absolutely everywhere as they manage to negotiate their way through there, as Ben still pushing his way through the order ever so slightly there, and through the sector we go. Sky Schondermeyer has gone off as well, so it's going to be Ben Rook who leads the way after the first couple of corners here, but there's all sorts of chaos further back. All more cars into the wall. That's Fernie and Gary Leach have come together. And Fernie returns back onto track, and there's all sorts of mess going on here at the minute. And Sky Schondermeyer's great start has already come undone as multiple cars are getting involved as we head up to the middle sector now. And you can see it's all still quite congested towards the back of the pack. But it is Ben Rook who leads the way after the first couple of laps from Wheel, from O'Brien, from Aberdeen, from Leach, from Hibbs. Fernie's dropped down the order, so it's Marshall behind Hibbs. Millington tipping, Duffin, and then we got this whole gaggle of cars as they all come flying up here. Hooper 6 wide, Duffin's been spun round, contact, damage. Duffin has managed to get spun the facing the right way, but absolute carnage here at the start of this race. But it's Ben Rook leading the way, and O'Brien has now cleared Wheel. Can he do anything about Rook? That is the question, as they all negotiate their way through the first couple of corners here. Oh, and there, more contact. That's Silth, I think. Silth coming together with Ramsel, I think. And a lot of pushing and shoving going on here at Kyle Army at this stage as they all negotiate through the Cheetah. But it's Ben Rook from Wheel, from O'Brien, sorry, from Wheel, who's now under pressure from Gary Leach. Is Gary going to send it up the inside? Yes, he is. A job done. Position gain for Gary Leach. He's now in a podium position. So they work their way through the S's now. And you can see some of the top guys just struggling to get going here. Clouden not really made any moves, and we see Fernie and Schondermeyer both in the pits with damage. So that's affected their start to the race. But it's Wheel who seems to be a little bit of the cork in the bottle at the minute. And everyone's just queuing up behind him. There we see Marshall's getting mugged left, right and centre. Around the outside goes Tordog. Here comes Hooper and Friedman as well. Contact made there. And Tordog goes a little bit wide. They still got Duffin and Friedman as well. And all trying to work their way through the S's. And Lexi's gone wide. Off she goes. And through goes the rest of the pack. Hooper and Friedman are still going at it wheel to wheel. As they head up to the top part of the circuit. Hooper up the inside. Doesn't quite get the traction and doesn't out-drag the Porsche, but he is a little bit lighter. So Hooper does gain that position. And now Will Friedman's onto the back of the pair of them, hoping to make a way through. Back to the front, Ben's pulling away ever so slightly from O'Brien, from Leach. Then his Wheels still holding everybody up, and Hibbs just trying to find a way through. Has he found a way through? I believe he has, or hasn't he? Wheel is on the outside, and he's just got marked by Marston as well. So there, Hibbs gains the advantage, but Marston not able to do anything with it. And there goes Millington, a much better exit from him, and he's able to go up the inside of the Ginetta driver. Better straight line. Hibbs defends the inside straight away. Meanwhile, Duffin in the background is under some immense pressure from Tordog and O'Reilly, and they're going to go 3, possibly 4 wide into turn number 1. Friedman gives them a racing room, and Duffin loses out to Tordog but gains on Friedman. Oh, Will Friedman! What a save! Oh, it's McGowan has come together with Wright and Silth as they drop down the order. So still the top 3 pulling away, and Hibbs now clearing Wheel. Wheel is still the cork in the ball as Millington is onto the back of him, and Hooper has had a good start. Meanwhile, Duffin is still pressurising Tordog up the inside towards Clubhouse they go, and Duffin gets the position back from Tordog, but Marston's in there, Will Friedman's in there, O'Reilly's in there, and Jamal Clouden not a million miles away either. Up towards the hairpin, they come. Oh, Justin and changing for position as the pit window has now opened, and Friedman's missed his brakes and contact with the Ginetta driver. They're going to lose out more and more positions here as they've now reorganised themselves and sorted themselves out. But Ben Rook still leading the way ahead of O'Brien, ahead of Leach. Oh, and there Millington makes contact with Hooper, and that just concertinas everyone back up again. There we see O'Reilly making a move on tipping as they just trying to break themselves free. And we see there Jamal Clouden into the pits. He's thinking, nope, I do not want to be a part of this, and tries to get in some clean air. Hooper also into the pits. Jota in the chat, how do I run with you? You had to head over to the sim grid, search SimPlay Motorsport. That will also send you to our Discord, and then when you join the Discord, we will ask you to do a hot stint so we can see where your pace is, and then you are able to register with us through the sim grid and through Discord as well. So make sure you do all those wonderful things if you want to be a part of the action. So your top three pulling away. Hibbs trying to stick with him but can't do it at the minute. Duffin clearing most of the traffic, but he's got Millington and a few others as well. Tordock trying to chase them down. O'Reilly trying to go around the outside of Millington right now. He's going to keep his foot planted as he goes around the outside. Hooper now out of the pits, as is Clouden, and they've got some lovely clean air. And through the S's they come. Down the inside goes Millington, but he can't get the job done and has to fall back in line. Stardog meanwhile still trying to give Friedman a bit of a hard time. Maybe Friedman has got the job done, but up towards the hairpin they come again, and Stardog not quite close enough this time round. Remy Fernie has a stop and go penalty for speeding in the pit lane, so we'll have to get that done soon. Meanwhile, O'Reilly has pulled away from Millington, who's got silt breathing down his neck now. Duffin now onto the back of Wheel, pretty much pushing the Audi along. What is the Audi going to do? Is he going to pit? Yes, he is, and Duffin comes in with him. So possibly maybe getting held up there. And Duffin goes around the outside of the pit lane. A bit cheeky of him there. But Ben Rook still leading the way at this minute. He's been hunted down by O'Brien. So O'Brien trying to bring that gap down. Gary Leach is not a million miles away, so if these two have any comings together, they will be there just in case to collect the pieces. Now, Tordock's been given some clean air thanks to Duffin. So what can he do with that clean air? He's got about 7 minutes to use that clean air. Oh, it's there once again. Millington's been caught up in another incident. That time round, it's still spinning him around, and Millington gets it going. He's hit the wall at the same time, just for good measure. But yeah, Millington losing out big time there. The two Team Tomboys just struggling at the minute. Obviously, Old Sim Racer started in pit lane, but Ben Rook now under some pressure from O'Brien. Meanwhile, pit stops are done. Duffin now comes out of the pits. He's just ahead of Jamal Clouden and dropped behind Hooper. But he has John Wheel. Clouden goes very wide there. O'Brien's made sure he's cleared him, but he's got more damage to the front end of his car as the rest of them funnel their way out of pit lane. But it's Ben Rook still ahead of O'Brien, ahead of Leach, ahead of Hibbs. Closest fight currently on track in the minute is probably Friedman hunting down Silth. And pit stops as well. There's a Wheel just behind Marsden, so possibly that are the closest fight at the minute. But after the pit stops, it's all just spread out ever so slightly. But here is your top two. Aston Martin versus Alpine, and O'Brien flashing the lights to Ben saying, I'm coming for you, bud. So be prepared for an attack from the little Alpine. Leach has now come into pit lane. A little bit of traffic coming up ahead for Ben and O'Brien. O'Brien looking a lot quicker at this stage of the race. And they're trying to get onto the back of Rook. Rook doing everything he possibly can just to stay away from that little Alpine. Very mighty that little car is. Bestie, meanwhile, get back on board with him, because here comes Tipping. Tipping trying to find a way through at this stage. And there it goes up the inside of Tipping. Tipping's going to try and get a good run out of the corner. He will do. That BMW is struggling here. And around the outside is Vesey going to hold on position. No, he's going to lose out and drop down the order once again. Best in the chat saying, good to see Ben shine about his teammate in GT3's getting the way. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. To be fair, he's had a better season than I have so far, so cheeky git. Anyway, it is the Audio Sport driver of Rook leading the way ahead of O'Brien, ahead of Hibbs. And with all the pit stops said and done, Gary Leach has come back out of the pits. He is ahead of Hooper and ahead of Duffin. Clouden trying to stick with him, but nowhere near him at this stage. What other positions are going on? Vesty has come out behind Millington. So after the footsteps are done, Millington have dropped down further down the order. As you now got O'Brien and Hibbs both coming to the pits. So now, what does Rook do? He'll have to react to this. He'll have to pit next lap. Tordok, fastest lap of the race, and with clean air, this is what he needed. Now Silth going fastest lap of the race as well. So the boys who have decided to pit early and get out of the traffic has offered the quicker guys the clean air that they possibly needed. So track position is key. And at the minute, with 3 minutes and 20 seconds still to go of this session, 3 minutes and 20 seconds still to go of the pit window, they could probably get one more lap done and come into the pit lane. So Ben will have to start thinking about reacting to O'Brien, because the others aren't really close enough. Tordok 12 seconds behind and gaining, but not enough of a pace to really threaten. O'Brien has come back out. Where is Leach? Nowhere to be seen. Is Hibbs going to jump Leach? Yes, he is. So Hibbs, going that little bit longer, has jumped the fellow Mercedes driver of Gary Leach, who's been hunted down by Hooper and his teammate Duffin. The question in all of this is, one, where is Ben going to feed in all this between himself and O'Brien? And also, where does the top guys as well, Tordok, Silth and Friedman, feed into all the close fights? Meanwhile, we got the Team Tom teammates battling it out for the 16th and 17th place positions. And that is some close racing right there. But at the minute, Old Sim Racer seems to have the edge. Excuse me. Ben Rook has now pitted. So he's coming to pit lane. McGowan now up behind Wheel. There's so much action, there's so much racing going on as he goes a little bit wide there. McGowan though still looking for an opportunity, can't find a way through at this stage. I think that is job done. Up the inside, or it's going to be the outside for the hairpin. He's going to look to the outside. Is he going to get the job done? Yes, he will, because the Audi ends up on the grass a little bit. Oh, is he? Because the Audi's a little bit stronger in a straight line. Meanwhile, Ben has gone green, and O'Brien is only now into the final corner. Ben has jumped him quite significantly there. So O'Brien not done enough. Meanwhile, Friedman has gone green. So's Tordok, and so has Silth. So where's this all going to fan out? Tordok coming down the straight now. And who's that behind him? That is Hooper. So he gains a couple of positions there. Tordok leaving out and getting that clean air has allowed him to keep... Oh, as he's had a moment there. Not sure what happened there. He's had a slight moment and Hooper's managed to get past. Meanwhile, just behind all this is Jamal Clouden. He's had Silf drop right in front of him. And on the straights, that Corvette should... the Chevy Camaro should out-drag the Jetta, but the Jetta, so light and nimble, is able to stay in front in the corners. Meanwhile, rest of the pack have all just strayed out as Wheel, losing out to McGowan, is now about to lose out to Old Sim Racer. Old Sim Racer trying to look around the outside, but can't do it, and has to wait a little bit longer as Wheel bouncing all over the curb. Pit window has been done and everyone has done their pits. And it is as it stands, but it's Rook leading the way ahead of O'Brien, ahead of Hibbs, ahead of Leach. Hooper in that P5 position. P6 is Tordok and he's been hunted down by Duffin. Silth in 8th. 9th is Clouden. Will Friedman is 10th. O'Reilly 11th. Wright in 12th. Ramsell in 13th. Marsden in 14th, Stardog 15th, McGowan in 16th, Wheel and Old Sim Racer buying out for 17th and 18th. Old Sim Racer, Rob Smith in 19th, Tipping in 20th, Millington 21st, Vestley being passed by Dan Taylor there for 22nd and 23rd, Aberdeen 24th, Marshall 25th, Fernie in 26th, and Sky Schondermeyer retired and into the pits. But Ben still, though, pulling away for Team Audio Sport and gapping the rest of them. Meanwhile, Gary Leach has brought the gap down ever so slightly to Hibbs, so the podium position is still up for grabs here for Gary. And Duffin still trying to give Tordok a bit of a hard time in that Porsche. Oh, Duffin's gone a bit wide, he's made a mistake. You don't want to do that too often because you'll end up under threat from Silth as well, as your top guys have worked their way to the front. And as you can tell as well, Hibsto leading silver class, and obviously Ben Rook leading the platinum, the gold class at the minute. And leading the bronze is Marston at the minute, and he's got a little bit of pressure from Stardog. He's ahead of Wheel at the minute, but it is Hibbs, the strongest looking silver driver at the moment. Or we go back to Marston. He's got a lot of pressure behind him. He's got a silver and a gold driver breathing down his neck. He's got Stardog and McGowan trying to maneuver their way through in there. Stardog made a mistake. That's McGowan up the inside towards the hairpin. He'll get the job done, and Marston defends the inside. And McGowan's going to try and get a better exit, a better run through. We'll go on a helicopter cam and try and see from above what is happening here, but so far so good for the Ginetta. He hangs in there. Meanwhile, Hooper seems to be holding up this gaggle of cars now, as Tordok has got onto the back of the Camaro, while the AMG isn't too far behind. Just a little bit of a bad lap there from Duffin. May put him a little bit vulnerable to the Ginetta behind him. Oh, Marston's had a moment. He's in the wall, he's damaged the car and managed to stay out of the way and return straight to the pits with major damage to the car. So after doing so well for the bronze class, he's ended up dropping down the order. Meanwhile, Team Thomas still going at it for pride on the in the garage, or who's going to be top driver here. And at the minute, it's Old Sim Racer who has that pride. But Hooper now still under some pressure from Tordok, his MSA Racing teammate. Through the S's they go. Right now, Duffin trying to do everything he possibly can to get onto the back of the two in front, but they're all kind of just in a stalemate stage at the minute. And they head up to the hairpin. We're going to probably have one more lap. Oh, and Hooper's gone wide. He's made a mistake. That's going to make him vulnerable to Tordok. Meanwhile, what else is going on? Millington is on the back of Tipping. That is Old Sim Racer. He's ended up in the wall. He's lost out to his teammate. But we go back to Hooper and Tordok. The two MSA boys going at it wheel to wheel. And as so, they're going to be under pressure from Duffin as well if they start racing each other too hard. Ben Rook starts his final lap. Oh, and Hooper goes very wide. Tordok has his own slide as well. Tordok in the slipstream of the Camaro. He's going to send it up towards turn number 1 on his teammate. Here they come. Tordok up the inside. Oh, they just about give each other room. One little mistake and Duffin is through, and Duffin's looking to make the move on Tordok. He's going around the outside. That's going to be the wrong side, and Silt's going to be there as well. There is Silt. They go side by side. And Duffin, oh, Tordok, Duffin, they're going wheel to wheel. Duffin's pushed Tordok wide. Tordok's going to keep his nose up the inside. There's a car in the way. Silph's giving Duffin a little tap. Alexi's trying to get out of the way as best he can, and Silph goes around the outside. So he gets Tordok done as well. So Torok went to be attacking to now being defending like mad from Silth and Duffin. Meanwhile, Gary Leach did get close to Hibbs ever so slightly, but not enough now. Hibbs is pulling away. But meanwhile, it has been this man from start to finish, looked very comfortable in the sprint race. Into the final few corners. His team will be extremely proud of this one. As Ben Rook comes into the Cheetah, managed to negotiate it for the 10th time tonight in the final corner. Don't flash your lights too early, Ben. Don't make the same mistake I made. But he exits the final corner. Team Autosport and Ben Rook wins the sprint race for GT4. Congratulations to him. O'Brien's going to come home for a solid P2. P3 is going to go the way of him. So Gary Leach in a solid P4. Hooper P5 with Duffin in P6. Still fastest lap for P7. Torok P8. Clouden P9. Friedman P10 with O'Reilly P11. Wright is just going to hang in there ahead of Ramsell. So Ramsell going to lose out to Wright. And McGowan is going to finish in 14th place position, with Stardog in 15th. Smith is going to finish 16th ahead of his teammate, best of the Tom Racing duo. He's going to finish 16th and 17th place for them. Tipping is going to finish in 18th. 19th was Millington, just ahead of Taylor. Oh, Wheels dropped down the order, so it's going to be Aberdeen who's going to come across the line ahead of Wheel, ahead of Vesely, ahead of Marshall, Fernie, Marston and Schundermeyer. So your winner for the gold class is Rook. Your winner for the silver is Hibbs, and your winner for the bronze is Smith. We'll be back in a few moments' time as we will get practice back underway, and yeah, we'll have practice underway for the guys. So have a quick break and recover themselves, and then we'll go into the 5-minute qualifying session and heading into the feature race. Don't go anywhere.
Light, give it all you can. Green light. Go, go, go.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to SimPlay Motorsport, and we are now underway for our qualifying session here as they all feed their way out of pit lane. It is Tordok and Ben Rook who feed themselves out onto track as soon as possible, and Tordok ended up in the back of this group now, or in the middle of it, sorry, not the back, but we are racing once again back here at Kyalami. 5-minute qualifying session for these guys, so not very long for these guys to get a lap time on the board, and they're going to be battling it out for track position and trying to find overall lap time as they possibly can around this very tricky circuit. Meanwhile, an update on the championship standings. It's O'Reilly still leading the way, 13 points ahead of Tordok and 66 points ahead of Sylth. Clouden in P4 with Friedman in P5, Carlos P6, Hooper in P7, McGowan P8, Duffin P9, Hibbs in 10th, Wright in 11th, Stardog in 12th, Ramsell in 13th, Skunky 14th, Gooday 15th, 16th is Leach with Taylor in 17th place position, 18th is O'Brien, 19th is Old Sim Racer, Fernie in 20th, Unsworth 21st, Minute in 22nd, Hunt in 23rd, and the tables haven't been updated correctly, so I will come and look at that at another point. I did think I was reading that weirdly because nothing seemed to have changed, but either way, we are underway for qualifying as they all try and get themselves into some form of order to get themselves underway here. And now the tables have updated, so now I know the right order, so I'll come back to that a little bit later on. As you can see, all of them backing themselves up, ready to give themselves the best opportunity in qualifying. But down the main straight, there you go, it's going to be Ben Rook who's going to set the pace here. As he goes through the yeses, who else we got out and tried? Tordok is out there, Duffin, Sylth, Hooper, Clouden, O'Reilly, McGowan, Smith, O'Brien, Wheel, Vestley, Hibbs, Fernie, Ramsell, Millington, Wright, Stardog, Friedman, Leach, and a few others in the pit lane. Old Sim Racer now coming out, Marshall staying in pit lane, Taylor staying in pit lane, Schandelmeyer as well, and tipping. Aberdeen and Marshall all yet to come out of the pit lane. And where is Ben Rook? There he is. He's going to be, like I said, the first man to come to the line. So Ben now into the final corner. So Ben comes to the line now and sets the pace. And he did not set the pace because he did not set a lap time on the board. So Duffin's going to set the pace of a 150.9. What is Tordok going to do? A 55.5. Still no lap time on the board for him either. Hooper goes with a 50.3. And O'Reilly crosses line 4/10 off. McGowan goes behind as well. Smith as well, just off the pace. Clouden gets within 12,000 of a second of his fellow Camaro driver. Who else is coming to the line? We got Wheel and Vestley coming to the line. Ramsell as well, as lap times are coming in thick and fast. Fernie goes to 4th place. Good pace from Fernie. and Friedman up into P3 as well. So good lap times these guys are producing. Wheel crosses line. He only goes 16th place possession. And Vesely as well. No lap time. Yeah, there was a lap time. He goes into 16th place position. But it's still Rook and Old Sim Racer and also Sylvie yet to set a lap time. So Hooper currently at the minute the fastest lap set by him so far. And all these guys managed to get themselves another lap on the board. So they have to nail this lap. If they don't get it done, that'll be it done for qualifying. And that is the 47, I think. That is O'Brien. I think he is done. Yes, he is. But it's going to be Rook now coming to the final corner. And into the final corner he goes. So far, no lap time on the board. This has to be a lap time for him. He has to deliver. Here comes Ben to the line. What's it going to be? It's going to be P6 for him. That's the best he could do. Meanwhile, Duffin currently P10. Has he improved? Yes, he goes P5. It is then going to be Sylph next to the line. What can he produce? He goes fastest overall. Hooper doesn't improve. O'Reilly goes into P4. McGowan goes fastest. He goes on provisional pole. Clouden is done. Where is Friedman? He is coming into the final sector now. It is Millington and Fernie coming to the line. Is Fernie going to improve? No, they're not. Here comes Friedman and Stardog. Friedman does improve and goes into P4. Wright goes into P14. Anyone else on a lap? Gary Leach in the final corner. Who's he got ahead of him? Wheel and Vesely. Do they improve? No, they don't. They stay where they are. Does Gary Leach improve? He does and goes up into 11th place position. Some great lap times there from the boys. But in the end, it is McGowan in the Mercedes-Benz taking pole position away from Sylph. Hooper in 3rd. Friedman 4th. Clouden 5th. O'Reilly 6th. Fernie in 7th. Great qualifying session there for Fernie. 8th, Duffin. 9th, Tordock. And 10th is Rook. That is your top 10. Regarding the rest of the order, it's going to be Gary Leach in 11th. Stardock in 12th. Hibbs in 13th. Yeah, Hibbs will be starting in 13th, not the camera I wanted. So another run through of the grid order is McGowan on pole position from Sylph alongside him. Hooper in P3 with Friedman in P4. Jamal Clouden will start P5 with O'Reilly in P6, Fernie in P7 with Duff in P8, Tordock P9 with Ben Rook in P10. 11th is Leach with Stardog alongside him. Hibbs in 13th with O'Brien in 14th. Wright in 15th with Millington in 16th. Ramsell 17th. 18th is Smith and Besley in 19th. Wheel in 20th. Marsden in 21st with Aberdeen in 22nd. Tipping in 23rd. Schundelmeyer in 24th. Taylor in 25th with Marshall in 26th. And Old Sim Racer right at the back of the pack.
30 seconds.
And we now wait for the race to get underway. Guys, if you haven't done so, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel and hit that bell to be notified so you do not miss anything here at SimPlay Racing. As we will now get the feature race
10 seconds.
prediction in. If you don't agree with any of the options I put, then feel free to put your own suggestions in the chat. As they now leave the grid. I think this is going to be very intense. We got a couple of fast cars all around, all close to one another. And I think we got some exciting battles to come ahead. The way this is going to work, guys, if you're new to SimPlay Motorsport, we've already done our sprint race. We're now into the qualifying format race. It's going to be a 45-minute feature. And like I said, keep an eye on other events that are happening on later this season. And we got our charity event later on in the year on the bank holiday weekend in May. 24 hours of the Nordschleife. Get yourself signed up and in teams for that one as we try to battle the Nürburgring, the green hell, as we fight also alongside with Team FBR and Paul Williams as Paul Williams and his family are going through the horrible disease that is cancer. And as a community, as a group of sim racers, let's all get together and work together to raise as much money as we possibly can for cancer research so that we can help the cause to try and stop this horrible killer. And we're going to torture ourselves by trying to go around the most annoying circuit in the world, that is the Nordschleife. So, one final run through of your grid order. McGowan, Sill, Duffin, Hooper. I don't know how Duffin's ended up P3. Probably the way the grid order is, the sectors they've gone through. I'm not going to go through the grid order because I think that is clearly wrong for some reason. But either way, it is going to be a Mercedes-Benz versus a Ginetta going at it for the win, or at least for the race at the start of this race. So guys, out of position, out of qualified here. What are they going to do? It's the old sim racer, Schandelmeyer, Aberdeen, and a few others from the back of the pack. Can they work their way to the front? Who is going to be the winner tonight at Kyalami? Only time will tell. We'll go to the helicopter can so we can see as much action as we possibly can. As they go together side by side. Here we go for the feature race of the GT4s. We are green and go in Kyalami, and McGowan's had a poor start. He's about to get mugged by Hooper and Sylph in that Ginetta, having a lovely start, actually pulling away from the rest of the pack as they go into turn number one, and through they go. Sylph leads into turn number one as McGowan loses out, and everyone else manages to negotiate their way through as cleanly as they possibly can. More chaos in the background, but meanwhile the leaders have pulled away. Meanwhile Fernie has returned to the pits for some reason. There's a Ginetta off in the background, but is McGowan under some immense pressure at the minute. He's already been jumped by two Camaros, and now he's under pressure from O'Reilly and Friedman as well, as the back of the pack try and get themselves in some particular order. And Jamal Clowder now under some pressure from McGowan as they all try and get themselves going. And there we see another door rub there, I think from O'Brien. Yes, it is, with Stardog as they get themselves through the S's. And up towards the hill they come. And all relatively close to one another. I'm going to shun the mind all this. He's just at the back of the pad trying to work his way slowly through the order, but it's Silt and Hooper leading the way. Romani Fernie already back into the pits, but again it's Jamal Cloudland who seems to just be holding everyone up. Meanwhile, just saw Alpine go very wide. That is Matt Wright by the list of things, and manages just to keep it on track and not lose the braking and keep himself in an order. Gary Leach, meanwhile, has jumped Duffin at the start, so he's managed to outsmart him there, and up the inside he goes of O'Reilly and shoves his fellow SimPlay racing driver, and Leach losing out, gaining position, but O'Reilly losing out there. Now he's under pressure from Duffin. Meanwhile, Hooper just holding back a little bit. He's not able to attack the leader at the minute. Meanwhile, McGowan defending from Friedman. It is two SimPlay racing boys going at it side by side, Duffin and Leach. They get close to one another, and Leach going around the outside will have the inside for the next part of the corner, and Duffin losing out Just momentum at the minute, not positions, because Tordok is right there, but Leach making a couple of mistakes here, which is going to let Duffin up the inside once again. But Tordok's right there with Ben and O'Reilly as well. They're still side by side, other two SimPlay Racing boys. Let's have further back. Sky Schottenmeier has cleared some of the back runners. Ramsdell not having the best of races here. He's chopped down the order. They're trying to work their way through, but they're all stuck behind this Gary Leach train at the minute with the SimPlay Racing boys battling hard. Meanwhile, Silth and Hooper are pulling away. McGowan is back onto the rear of Clouden, and he's got Friedman going with him. Gary Leach once again having to defend from Duffin, and there's a whole gaggle of cars right behind him, and they're all wanting a piece of the action. But Gary Leach, beautiful defensive drive at the minute and holding everybody up at this stage. Hibbs now looking to come out and try and find a way through on O'Reilly by the looks of things, while Ben Rook is also just trying to stay out of trouble. He's going around the outside of Tordok. I don't think he's going to get the job done now. He's going to get pushed out wide and has done so. Oh, meanwhile, further back, there is more chaos. Who's that off in the dirt? It is Vesely. Vesely's made a mistake and has dropped down the order. But again, Gary Leach just holding everyone up. Duffin going extremely wide out of the final corner there. But Silth once again under pressure from Hooper. These two still not pulling away from the three behind. They're sticking with them. And if Jamal Clouden keeps his head cool, he's able to drag him with him and attack the top two. Meanwhile, Gary Leach still trying to defend from Duffin, Tordok and Rook. O'Reilly's in this fight as well as his Hibbs. And once again, Leach sliding the car, keeping everyone behind. And Tordok looking up the inside, and Duffin's going to try and go up the inside of the left-hander. He's never going to get that job done, and now he's under pressure from Tordok. Tordok now going around the outside. Ben Rook going with him as well. Ben's going to get the job done. Yes, he is. So Duffin, after trying to attack Leach, has lost out and dropped down the order. Very close racing in these GT4s. The rest of the guys are just trying to get onto the back of this car, a gaggle of cars, and I'm sure the likes of Schundelmeyer, Ramsel and others will get onto it because Gary Leach is holding everybody up. Silth, meanwhile, has pulled away from Hooper. Hooper's made a mistake, but because Leach has been holding everyone up, it's given the opportunity to Clouden, McGowan and Friedman, but Hooper hasn't lost too much time. He hasn't lost too many positions. You can see now in the background, Ramsel and Schundelmeyer have now caught this group of cars. So Leach actually now starting to pull away from Tordok by the looks of things. So it's Tordok struggling at this stage to stick with the Mercedes driver. Ben now, after passing Duffin, is under a little bit of pressure, and Duffin sent up the inside a bit late from him there and possibly caught Ben out. And all it's done is compromise both their runs, as O'Reilly is now right in the slipstream, as is Hibbs, has his right. And we know what that McLaren's like, is extremely fast in a straight line. And here it comes down towards turn number one. He's going to send up the inside of Duffin. No, he's not. He thinks better of it. And around the outside goes O'Brien to get past Hibbs and look to try and make the move on O'Reilly as well, but not able to do so. So it's all quite close racing at the minute, but Leach and Tordok have pulled away from Duffin, who's managed to get himself ahead of Rook. So still, these two at the minute just sitting on the back of Jamal Clouden, and they're just allowing Silph to just slowly pull away at this stage. Bit by bit, not by a lot, but these three still within touching range of the Ginetta driver. Everyone else, meanwhile, still nose to tail behind Leach as they'll start to back themselves back up again as old sim racer Schundelmeyer and Ramsel all now starting to get onto the back of this train. And once again, Rook is looking to make the move on Duffin, but he's gone deep, he's gone wide. But O'Reilly has to look up the inside. He'll have better exit and a better traction with Rook and pull away. Meanwhile, McGowan looking like he's wanting to attack the back of Jamal Clouden. As all this is going on, they're allowing the unknown racing Sylph driver to pull away. Once again, the gap when they started this lap was 1.2. It is getting to 1.8 by the end of this lap. And that's just Jamal Clouden having to defend heavily from the Mercedes-Benz behind him. Two seconds is now the gap, so Sylph gained 8 tenths just on that lap alone. As McGowan looks to the inside, he can't get the job done there and has to fall back into line. But is Jamal Clouden going to go a little bit too deep? No, he'll have that position in place. Leach, meanwhile, is catching Hooper, and he's taking Tordok with him. Everyone else knows the tail goes around the outside of Matt Wright. No, Aberdeen sends it up on Matt Wright. And now these 4 guys have now joined the back of the pack. And through they all go. Meanwhile, Jamal Clouden did lose out to Tordok. Sorry, McGowan. And McGowan's going to go around the outside of Clouden. Friedman's there as well. And McGowan holds onto position. And there's Clouden as well, right up behind him, and Friedman looks to make a move, but he can't do so. Skunking the chat, gutted, I missed tonight. Looking like a stonking race. It has been absolutely drama from start to beginning, but it's been absolutely amazing nonetheless. They're giving themselves racing room and respect. McGowan and Clouden and Friedman all trying their very best to not make contact with Clouden. Takes a tighter line, tries to get a better exit than McGowan, but can't do so. Hooper and Gary Leach are starting to clear onto the back of him, as Tordok is also going with Leach. Duffin now is the mobile chicane, as he's got everyone else behind him now. Ben Rook trying his best to try and find a way through on Duffin as best he can. And O'Reilly now also there with O'Brien, Hibbs, Stardog and Millington also close to one another. We're back to the front still, pulling away. McGowan, meanwhile, has still got Clouden breathing down his neck. Now, can these 3 still work together to try and catch Sylph? Because Sylph is just pulling away at the minute in the Ginetta. Comfortable gap at the minute. Clouden looks to the inside turn number 1, but thinks better of it and falls back into position. Hooper still ahead of Leach and Tordok. And O'Reilly there looking like he's under pressure. He's made a mistake somewhere because he's lost out to O'Brien. Now he's losing out to Hibbs. So the McLaren really struggling here at Kyalami, and he just holds off Hibbs. And Stardog is now looking to make a move, but he can't get through. The pack all starting just spread out a little bit here. But still pulling away. McGowan's now cleared Clouden. Can he actually hunt down Sylph and do anything about that Ginetta? And Friedman, meanwhile, now also looking to try and make a move on Jamal Clouden. Hooper in P5 with Leach, Tordok, Duffin pulling away from Rook now with O'Brien. Oh, and there you can see O'Reilly's really struggling. The weight is really hurting him here at Kyalami. And this is allowing Tordok to outscore him. Down the back straight, there you go. Back end of the circuit. And he's trying his best to defend is O'Reilly. And doing everything right so far. Hoopert's gone wide. Meanwhile, who else is in a fight? We've got Ramsell and Smith going at it. And this is Constantine in this group up once again, and Aberdeen's gone very wide. That's now aboard with Sky Shundermeyer's onto the back of Still. He's had a snap through the cheetah. Oh, he's gone a little bit too deep out of the final corner as well, so that's going to compromise his exit and possibly put him under threat from Old Sim Racer. Meanwhile, McGowan is pulling away from Clouden and has brought the gap down to Sylph already after that first lap of clean air. Hooper getting back onto terms with Friedman as the Clouden's holding him up, and Leach is going with him. Duffin now starts to get into a rhythm ahead of Rook, ahead of O'Brien, ahead of O'Reilly. Still loads of close racing happening up and down the grid. all relatively clean so far. Sylph though, 2.3 is the gap. McGowan is trying to bring that gap down. Cloudon's just got to stay in reach, stay in touch, see them ahead. If he's able to still see him, he's able to still capitalise a little bit later on when they start fighting. Hooper, meanwhile, all over the gravel, all over the dirt, and has made a mistake, and that's going to allow Leach to have a sniff of an opportunity. Gary Leach always seems to go relatively strong here at Kyle Army, and once again he is proving that to be true. Down the back straight, these guys come. And again, Ben Rook not able to do anything with Duffin at this stage. Meanwhile, Will Friedman has a sniff of an opportunity up the inside of Jamal Cloudon. Can't get the job done there. So Will Friedman. Still there, we see the Porsche right in the slipstream of the Camaro. Very strong in a straight line is the Camaro, and the Porsche can't do anything about them at this stage. Meanwhile, we go back to this leading pack of Duffin, Rook and O'Brien. And Duffin looked good in race one, just has no pace at the minute. Now we look back to old Sim Racer and Taylor and Schundelmeyer. Schundelmeyer looking to make a move on old Sim Racer. He can't find a move at the minute. Old Sim Racer goes wide. Is that going to give Schundelmeyer an opportunity to go up the inside? No, he's not quite close enough. He's going to get a better exit though. Too good an exit that he gets too close to the back of him and is not able to capitalise on that one. Now the Mercedes just pulls away. Meanwhile, back to the front. Jamal Cloudon still losing touch to McGowan, and is allowing Hooper to catch them back up, as is Leach, as is Tordock. So bit by bit, the guys who missed out earlier on are slowly working their way back up the order. And it's still very close racing. Sylph pulling away, or is he? No, he's not. McGowan is slowly but surely bringing the gap down. Cloudon in third, with fourth is Friedman, fifth is Hooper, and Leach in sixth. Tordock in seventh. Duffin just got no answer to the guys at the front. O'Brien, meanwhile, is trying to give Rook a bit of a hard time. We've got O'Reilly, Hibbs and Stardog all battling it out with right there just as well. Ramsell still defending from Smith. So good little Aston Martin fight at the minute. And all these guys relatively close to one another. Aberdeen's dropped down the order, so is Millington. So Millington not having the best of races here. And Schundelmeyer still trying to get away past on old Sim Racer, but can't seem to find a way through at this stage. Friedman, though, back on the attack of Cloudon, who defends the inside of turn number one. And Cloudon holding off the onslaught from the Porsche driver. Hooper's now on to terms with the leaders, as is Leach, and Tordock just not going with them, possibly the weight holding him back. It's still, Tardog still under pressure from right at this stage. And O'Brien, meanwhile, has got a real fancy of trying to get past Ben Rook. We'll go on the rear wing. There is the little Alpine. Right underneath the Aston, pretty much pushing him along. And O'Brien runs a little bit wide and is not going to capitalise there. Nor is right, the two little Alpines trying their very best to work their way through the order. And they're all just in full position. Meanwhile, Sylph has still got the race lead and still trying to hold back McGowan. 2.1 is the gap. It is now 1.9. McGowan is hunting him down bit by bit. Will Friedman still trying to get past Cloudon, but Hooper's got his eyes. He's going to be focusing his eyes onto his mirrors, because he has got Gary Leach right behind him. And Gary Leach, suddenly a form of pace in these GT4s out of nowhere here at Kyalami. He even clobbers the curb as well through Cheetah, which you don't often see. Confidence from Gary Leach at the minute. Meanwhile, O'Brien pretty much pushing Rook into the final corner. And we got Taylor now attacking Smith once again, and Old Sim Racer still under pressure from Sky Schundelmeyer, who looks to go up the inside of the final corner but can't capitalise there either. So the gaps are still close. They're still tight to one another. And we got a clear group of seeing of the gold drivers and the silvers as well, with Leach in the middle of the silver fight, with Clouden still under pressure for Friedman, and Leach, sorry, has got past Hooper. So Hooper struggling at this stage and lost out to Leach. Gary Leach now wanting to go after Friedman as well. So Gary Leach is on some pace here. Meanwhile, Friedman pretty much pushing Jamal Clouden. Pit window has now opened, so this is a perfect opportunity to guys to come into the pits and get their pit stops done. A few of the drivers that we're seeing in fights at the moment. But this is our main fight at the minute. This is for the final podium position, and at this stage it looks like Silf has managed to react to McGowan's pace. They're kind of level pegging at this stage, trading sector times at the moment, and Silf holding the fastest lap as well to his name as they work their way through the back end of the session. The Crocodile and the Cheetah, and that is O'Brien going very wide through the Crocodile, and that's going to lose him time and progression on Rook and possibly put him under threat to O'Reilly. And Smith gone wide. That's going to give Taylor an opportunity to come to the inside. That's also old Sim Racer there with Schundermeyer just behind them as well. So to go through the Cheetah, they all somehow negotiate that corner. This is possibly a good opportunity for Schundermeyer to pit. No, he's going to go up the inside of the final corner. And is that job done for him? Yes, it is. He finally gets past old Sim Racer. And kind of use that clean air to his advantage. But old Sim Racer with the straight line advantage from the Mercedes-Benz. Head down towards turn number 1. Schundermeyer, will he defend the corner? He's going to stay on his racing line. And old Sim Racer is going to send it up the inside. Sky gives him room. And great respectful racing from these two. Sky closing off the door there, and that's also allowing Aberdeen to get back in the fight as well. Meanwhile, Jamal Clouden still trying to defend. Oh, sorry, Will Friedman's now lost out to Leach. So Will Friedman's made a mistake. He's lost out to Leach, and Gary Leach now is knocking on the door of a podium. So they work their way through the S's. This mid-pack has seemed to have just strung out a little bit. And it's still the Schundermeyer and Old Sim Racer fight at the minute. And Old Sim Racer has managed to get back past from Schundermeyer again. And with all the pit stops said and done, Wright has come out ahead of O'Brien. So Wright, I think, has chose not to change tyres. O'Brien possibly has done, or has messed up his pit stop. But either way, Gary Leach is attacking Jamal Clouden. Meanwhile, Racer pulling away from Schundermeyer as Hooper comes into the pits. That releases Will Friedman again. Tordoc's there, Duffin's catching up, and Ben Rook into the pits also. And down the main straight they go once again. And Jamal Clouden's got his hands full because he's got Gary Leach breathing down his neck. Trying his very best to put Clouden off. And through the S's they go. Now Skunky says that Leach has had his spinach. Yes, he has indeed. Meanwhile, a couple of cars for Friedman and Tordock to lap. Duffin has now caught onto the back of him, so you can see now Duffin has just been a little bit patient here, waited for the race to come back to him. And Hooper has come back out on track, and Rook also. Where is Wright and O'Brien? They're further back, so they're not near the fight that they want to be in. And Duffin flashing the lights there. He wants to get past that back marker. And Gary Leach there just losing a little bit of time to Jamal Clouden. Possibly a messy middle sector. But nonetheless, this could be an opportunity. to maybe get in and do a pit stop, get into a little bit of clean air. Once again, McGowan has brought the gap down. And still choosing to stay out, as is McGowan. And into the pits comes Friedman. So Leach is still pressurizing Jamal Clouden at the minute. A load of cars choosing to stay out. O'Reilly now comes into the pits. Hibbs continuing on through, as is Stardock, Ramsell as well. Millington, as a lot of the cars at the back have pitted, is Hooper leading the pitters from Rook, from Wright, from O'Brien, Smith, Aberdeen, Taylor, Schundelmeyer, Tipping, Vesely, Old Sim Racer. So Old Sim Racer has dropped down the also, and Schundelmeyer has jumped up the pack quite a bit, so that will help him out. Oh, and I say that, and Schundelmeyer's ended up in the wall. Not sure what's happened there. But either way, we go back to your race leader. That is Silth ahead of McGowan, and Clouden just holding off Leach at the minute. But I'd be worried about Friedman. He's come into the pits, and he's obviously wanting that clean air at the moment. Tordok, meanwhile, being hunted down by Duffin. So no real close fights at the minute. The only closest fight at the minute is the Quantum Motorsport duo. That's for less than half a second between those two. And I believe we've lost Sky. I believe Sky Schundelmeyer has retired and has left the session. But this is your closest fight on track at this stage. I say it is, but then I see the times, and Leach has got closer once again to Jamal Clouden. And Gary Leach seems to be a little bit of an expert here at Kyalami. He seems quite content, quite comfortable around this circuit. And Clouden now pits, so this is a prime opportunity for Gary Leach to use that pace now. He's got some clean air. What can he do with it? Duffin comes in as well with Tordok, and McGowan's also into the pits as well. So Gary Leach, some clean air ahead of him. What can he use? As he actually doesn't have some clean air. He's got Fernie coming out with him. 6.6 is the gap. Oh, Gary's gone a little bit deep into turn number one. Meanwhile, Friedman did come out ahead of Hooper, importantly. That's only 6/10 separating them. And O'Reilly did jump Rook in the pit lane as well. While the fights were going on at the minute, everyone else relatively stale until these pack of cars come through. We're looking at Jamal Clouden and McGowan for Friedman and Hooper. They've both gone green. Friedman's gone very wide, and McGowan has gone green. Will Jamal Clouden? That's the question. He's come through, but I think Friedman's jumped him. Yes, he has, as has Hooper. So clean air is king. And it has worked out for Friedman. Brilliant strategy, and for Hooper as well. And they've got a little bit closer to McGowan. So with the clean air, Leach isn't quite on the pace of Silth. He's lost half a second to him on this lap alone. And I believe Silth will be coming into the pits momentarily. But McGowan under pressure from Friedman. A brilliant strategy from Friedman, and has allowed him to jump a few cars. But has Friedman and Hooper decided not to change tyres, giving them the 5-second buffer that they need, while Clouden and the rest have? We'll have to wait and see. As they come into pit lane. Stardog into the pit, as is Ramsell. McGowan coming down the straights. Leach, meanwhile, what lap times was he doing? A 151.2, 151.4, and a 151.1 earlier on. What was McGowan doing? Because that was who he's chasing. He was in the 50s, so McGowan has got the pace. So not really enough to catch the leaders. But Leach did look strong. Silth has gone green already. And I think you're going to struggle towards the end of this race with the tyres, but Silth has gone green. Sadly, Leach, last into the session, will be furthest down the pack. and I think he's going to drop down the order quite significantly. There is Clouden, and Leach hasn't gone off the limiter yet. Now he has, and who's he going to drop behind? I think he's going to drop behind even Duffin and Tordok here. So even a good first start to the race. Leach drops down the order, so that clean air did not work out for him whatsoever. So Sylph pulling away. He's got a lovely gap now of, let's see what the delta's going to be. 7.2. Friedman is on his back, and Hoopert's going with him. Clouden has cleared them. Gary Leach has made an error in the pit stop somewhere, possibly a tyre change. Hopefully the tyre change is going to come back to him later on, or he's missed the pit stop. Not sure what has happened to Leach there, but he's lost out. Meanwhile, Duffin is pressurising Tordok. We go on board with Tordok from the rear wing of Tordok. And there, Duffin gets a little bit closer, not quite close enough. Hibbs also has got O'Reilly and Rook behind them, so Hibbs actually jumped O'Reilly and Rook there, so he's gained some positions also from that. The rest of the pack, meanwhile, will just strung out a little bit. But this is your closest fight on track at the minute. It is for Tordok and Duffin. Now I think a few of these guys have opted to go for a fresh tyre set, or they've chosen to hang it out with the tyre set they have at the minute. Now with the temperature sitting at 31 track temperature, they are going to get hot, and they are going to start slowly wearing. And there you can see Tordok, you can see the weight affecting Tordok. He's really struggling here at this stage with Duffin breathing down his neck. Meanwhile, Rook is onto the back of O'Reilly. Through the right-hander they go. Meanwhile, Wright is onto the back of Stardog. Stardog struggling at this minute. He's got the two Alpines hunting him down. And O'Brien had a much better run through there than Wright did, as they are still trying to give the Mercedes-Benz a little bit of a hard time. But still pulling away, but McGowan's brought the gap down. Again, Friedman's gone with him. Hooper not able to stick to turns with him. Clouden sticking with him. Duffin trying to stick with Tordok. And it's still this great fight from Rook and O'Reilly. It's got to be quicker race changing tyres, right? You would have thought so, but if you've got track position and you can't overtake, as long as you get good traction out of the final corner, and I think this is the possibility that that we're going to see with Duffin and Tordok and Leach. I think Leach has possibly changed tyres, but Tordok, as long as he gets a good exit, a good drive out of the final corner, there's not really much, there's nowhere else really Duffin can get the job done. He's going to look to turn number one. He's out of the slipstream, but he's probably pulled out way too early there, not benefiting fully from the slipstream. He's going to go up the inside of Tordok. They nearly made contact. And I think Duffin, if he stayed a little bit longer in the slipstream, got a little bit closer, he would have been a better opportunity to attack him. Into the fast swooping right-hander goes Clouden and Hooper. And Rook and O'Reilly quite close to them, each other as well. Who else we got? Here we go, right, looking up the inside of Stardog in the right-hander, not quite close enough that time round. And O'Brien once again just waiting for an opportunity. Aberdeen's onto the back of Smith here. So Aberdeen looking to make a move on Smith. He's not quite close enough through that right-hander. So Duffin's still pushing Tordok at this minute, not really close enough to make a visit. Oh, Stardog's in the wall! Has Wright made contact with him? No, he's way off. He's further back than I thought he was. No damage to the Alpine cars, and Stardog's come to a stop. I think he's gonna... Oh no, he's just waiting for cars to pass through. And Ramsel's caught onto the back of him. So Aberdeen also still looking to make a move on Smith. Looking left, looking right is Aberdeen. He can't find a way through on Smith at this stage. Meanwhile, Gary Leach setting fastest lap of the race. He set the pace here and he's now looking to try and hunt down. So he's clearly changed tyres. He's changed the tyres and now he's hunting down Tordok and Duffin, but he's given, importantly, track position away. Friedman, no answer to McGowan at the minute, while Hooper and Clouden are going at it still. Duffin's still trying to put Tordok under some pressure, so there's fights happening all the way down the order here, and there's lapped cars in the way as well. We've got Taylor and Aberdeen going at it earlier on as well, and O'Reilly, Old Sim Racers now to the back of Vestley. But yeah, all going at it at the minute. Duffin, meanwhile, right on the back of Tordok. This might be an opportunity because Tordok was caught out by the slow traffic. He goes to the outside. Duffin will try and get a better exit, but Leach is up the inside as well. He's looking to try and get onto the terms of these two. And into the fast left-hander they go, heading down towards the Crocodile. But Tordok defending heavily, but also while these two are defending quite heavily as well, they're catching Hooper and Clouden ever so slightly as well, so they're having their own little squad order. So the Camaro's just struggling at this stage of this race. Oh, and Duffin's going to send up the inside of the final corner. He's gone deep. Tordok's got the back end sliding. I think that was a bit of a risky dive there from Duffin. I don't think he was actually wanting to make the move. He just missed his brakes, I think, but it turned into a move. Tordok straight away into the slipstream, but here comes Gary. He's now looking to make a move as well. Tordok back up the inside, gets the car stopped. Gary goes through as well. Cheekily gets past Duffin, so Duffin gets the position, and Gary mugs the pair of them. And Duffin also works his way back through. They both go wide. That's going to allow Tordok to be back up there inside. They're now 3 wide. And Tordok's going to go around the outside of Duffin. Yes, he is. Gary Leach going to hold the inside. He's going to be on the outside for the next corner. Oh, and Tordok's still there. He's up the inside of Gary. He shoves him wide. Duffin's got nowhere to go. Gary's on the outside. Duffin has to pull out. And Tordok inside for the next corner. Then he's going to be on the outside. Gary Leach gives him a shove. Again, Duffin's got nowhere to go. They go 3 wide. Up to the hairpin they go. Gary's going to try and go all the way around the outside. He gets better traction. He gets better drive. But Tordok, the inside of the corner. And Tordok still won't give this up. Up the inside. Has Gary Leach finally got the job done? As Duffin trying to follow his teammate through as they head up towards the cheetah. Gary Leach finally gets past. And Tordok has to defend the final corner once again because Duffin's going to try and send it once again. Oh. What a lap of drama from these 3. Meanwhile, what has happened to O'Reilly? He's just dropped off the back of Hibbs and Rook, who have pulled away and slowly catching these two once again. The action's still going on as Duffin's right in the slipstream and Tordok just defends the inside. Oh, Leach goes a little bit wide and possibly compromised himself. While this all been going out, Clouden has got past Hooper. So this fight between these 3 has been dramatic. And once again, Gary Leach's poor exit has allowed Tordok to have another go. Duffin goes to the inside of the of Leach's slipstream. To the outside goes Tordok. He's got his hands full with these SimPlay Racing boys. And Duffin's going to try and go around the outside. He gets the job done, but he's so up behind Gary's back bumper, he's got nowhere to go. Meanwhile, Clouden has cleared Hooper and pulled away. Friedman not really attacking McGowan at the minute. But Duffin now having to try and go to the outside of Leach. Try and do what Leach did to Tordok, but he ain't going to get the job done there. Leach is too aware of that. But as these two start squabbling too much, Tordok, Rook, Hibbs are all going to slowly work their way back onto the fight. Meanwhile, further back, Ramsell is still giving O'Brien a hard time. Taylor has pulled away from Aberdeen. And Tipping is back into the pits. He's got major damage to the front end of his car. But what dramatic racing here. We go back to this train and both Mercedes clobbering the Cheetah there and getting away with it. And both of them running wide as well. Duffin gets a better exit and they're going to go side by side. And as they head up towards turn number 1, once again, Tordok is pressurizing them. He's not going to allow them to get away with any mistakes here. And Tordok and Duffin make contact. Tordok losing out there, drops back behind the three of them. Meanwhile, Rook is now onto the back of Duffin. So Ben now wanting a part of the action. And around the outside, does Ben look? No, he'll just understeer wide and lose grip. Tordok just wanting to get back onto terms, and now Leach has got a chance to break away. But going onto the grass there, Gary is not going to help you out whatsoever. Duffin does not need racing line. Quality racing that was. Yes, it was skunky. Brilliant to watch. Meanwhile, Jamal Clouden has passed Hooper and is now the leading Camaro driver. What other fights are going on at the minute? Still O'Brien and Ramsell still going at it. But Ramsell can't seem to get any opportunity to get past the Alpine. And the Aston Martin's not look strong here whatsoever. Goes a little bit deep, does Ramsell. And pulling away does O'Brien. Aberdeen now onto the back of Taylor. The fight of the two Ginettas. They're still fighting at it as Millington is onto the back of Smith. So after all this, Silt is still leading this race quite comfortably of 4.2 seconds ahead of McGowan, ahead of Will Friedman in P3. That's your podium positions with Jamal Cloud in P4 and Hooper at P5. Then we've got Gary Leach, fastest lap of the race in P6, ahead of Duffin, ahead of Rook, ahead of Tordok, and ahead of Hibbs. O'Reilly in 11th place position with Wright in 12th. 13th is O'Brien with Ramsell in 14th. Taylor in 15th ahead of Aberdeen in 16th. Smith in 17th ahead of Millington with Stardog in 19th. Old Sim Racer 20th with Vesty in 21st. Wheel 22nd and Marshall 23rd. Tipping 24th. Ferning 25th and Marston in 26th position. I do have a mouth ulcer, and this has really hurt my mouth with all this commentating. So if all the action could just calm down ever so slightly, just to rest me a little bit, that'd be absolutely brilliant. But we now got Wheel coming up as a back marker, and this is going to get even more spicier, I think, as they've got to try and clear the Audi as best they possibly can. And Gary Leach clears him, no problem. Duffin now going his way through. It's going to be between Rook and Tordok, but I think Wheel has done a brilliant job of just staying out of the way, and he's managed to do so. Tordok sends up the inside of the final corner. Ben sees it coming, does the switchback and keeps the position. So Tordok there, trying desperately to find his way back past the Aston Martin, but couldn't do so. Up towards the final corner they go, and once again Gary Leach just seems to be losing a little bit of momentum at this stage. This is allowing Duffin to get back onto terms with him once again. And Ramsell not able to attack O'Brien no more, so O'Brien's kind of pulled away from the Aston Martin, and every other fight seems to have just eased off a little bit. It is back to Leach, Duffin and Rook and Taylor. Tordock, sorry. Hibbs just there or thereabouts. He's not quite able to get onto this quattro of cars. Gary Leach still just trying to pull away from Duffin, but Duffin has brought that gap back down, and with those two now pulling away from Ben, it's allowing Tordock to be held up ever so slightly. That's going to help O'Reilly out, because O'Reilly's struggling here at Kyle Army. He'll be happier when we move to Imola, I think, but that McLaren just does not seem to have any pace here whatsoever. If you change early, yes, new tyres are quicker, way quicker, and indeed they are here. Clarble, I hope you're enjoying the racing.
Okay, the leader is on the final lap now.
Silth now starts his final lap here. McGowan has had no answer to Silth. It has been a Ginetta dominance here. We've barely seen him because he's been so far out in front, and he's got this under control. It is now Leach versus Duffin. We're going to have to put a driver of the day, and it's going to be hard to find one. Meanwhile, these two are still going at it. Teammates, imagine if they take themselves out right now. That would be an interesting one. But Gary defends the inside. Going to leave him a little bit compromised. Duffin's going to go around the outside of the King. He hits the curb, and Matt kind of forcing his way through, and up the position he goes. And Gary Leach losing the position to Duffin there. So Gary Leach trying everything he possibly can to get the position back from Duffin. There's not long left of this race. But what a brilliant night, what a racing. But there is Silf, the man who's been absolutely dominant this race. He looks so good, no one really bothered him. And he is coming home to take a race win to his name. An absolutely splendid drive there from Silf. He comes into the final corner now to win this feature race here at Kyle Army. A brilliant job from him. Congratulations to him. It is going to be McGowan who's going to finish in P2. Solid drive from him in the end. Will Friedman is going to come home for a P3 position, rounding off the podium positions. Jamal Clouden is going to finish in that 4th place position ahead of Hooper. It is then Duffin and Leach going at it. They're side by side, and it is Duffin who gets sticked ahead of Leach, ahead of Rook, ahead of Tordock, ahead of Hibbs for your top 10. O'Reilly scoring some decent points in 11th place position. Wright is going to come home in that 12th place position. O'Brien for 13th. Ramsell 14th. Taylor is going to finish in 15th place position ahead of Aberdeen in 16th. Clark Warner said, love it, great racing tonight. Least driver of the day for me, says Skunky, brilliant entertainment. Get your votes in. The driver of the day is there. Millington is going to come home for that 17th place position ahead of Smith in P18. Stardog in the end is going to end up in that I think he's lost out to. No, he's going to finish in 19th place position ahead of Old Sim Racer, ahead of Vesely. Wheel is going to finish in 22nd. Marshall in 23rd. Tipping in 24th with Fernie 25th. And then it's going to be Marsden who finishes in that 26th position. Good comments, Dan. Don't know how you kept up with all that. See you on track on Thursday. I meant to hit the leech, but I hit the wrong button. Lols says Clarball in the chat. But that was Kyle Lamy, and I'm going to now head into the comms box and try my very best to see if I can get this interview working. So I'll be back in a few moments' time, guys. Just give me a few seconds. Now, I don't know if anyone can hear me in the chat, but fingers crossed, if I've figured this out, hopefully we should be able to hear some people in the chat if they join us, obviously either from the sprint or the feature. So if any of them fancy joining in for a quick chat in the comms box, they are more than welcome to do so. But what a dramatic night's worth of racing. It is Gary Leach who at the minute is split the vote between him and Silth for driver of the day. But for me, it will go away with Gary Leach, because I'm definitely giving Gary Leach for driver of the day, because that was absolutely brilliant to watch. It's been fascinating all night long to see how Gary got on. Obviously, we will keep an eye on what the weather is doing for the week, as Pro-Am and Pro have got thunderstorms lingering around for the week ahead. So keep an eye on that. And Lexi will bring you all the action tomorrow night and see what drama will fulfill all the racing tomorrow for the Pro-Ams. For the pros, it'll be sweet and sticky in your box with Kelly Davis and Matthew Duffin bringing you all the actions. The GT4s have been absolutely brilliant tonight, with Silph taking the win in the feature. And it was Ben Rook taking the win in the sprint. It's been awesome to watch. I'm still waiting to see if anybody is going to join the comms box. I'll give it a few more seconds, but I doubt anyone is going to join us. But yeah, it's been fantastic to watch. O'Reilly struggling in the end to outscore his competitors. But that McLaren really did look like it was struggling here. I believe all the tables are up to date, and the tables will be just up to date as well, as I just quickly do that. So championship standing looks like this. Obviously penalties still to be announced due to that as well, but it is O'Reilly leading the way. So all these are provisional at the minute. O'Reilly leaves Kyle Lamy with a 9-point advantage over Tordock in second place, with Silth in third, with Clouden in P4, Friedman in P5, with Hooper in position 6. 7th is the way of McGowan, with 8th of Duffin. 9th is Hibbs. 10th is Carlos. 11th is Leach. 12th is Wright. O'Brien is in 13th, with Ramsell in 14th place position. 15th is Stardog Taylor. 16th. 17th is Skunky. 18th is Old Sim Racer Millington in that 19th place position, with Rook in 20th. Goudet 21st, with Fernie 22nd. Umsworth in 23rd, with Smith in 24th, Tipping in 25th, 26th being Hunt, 27th is Vesely, Aberdeen is 28th, Carble 29th, Johnson 30th, Cummings 31st, with Marston in 32nd, Archer 34th, Wheel 35th, Marshall 36th, Jackal 37th, Betterson 38th, Schundelmeyer in that final 39th position. That is that, and I don't see anybody joining the comms box, so I believe that will be that. So O'Reilly leaves Kyle Lamy with a little bit of a dent done to his title. But either way, I still think it's going to be a competitive end to the season. We're at the halfway stage, so it's going to get very interesting from here on out. Regarding the team's championship, it looks like this. It is MSA leading away from Greasy Bandits, Unknown Racing with SimPlay Racing in P4. P5 is Old School Racers with Quantum Motorsport in P6. Cam Racing in P7. 8th is Team Tom with 9th the way of Blunt Force Racing. Piston Pumpers in P10. 11th is Piston Pounders with Audio Sport in 12th. Roadrunners Motorsport in 13th. Star Wolf Racing in 14th, Old Kit Racing 15th, with 16th the way of Lexi Industries Racing, and RBGT Team in that final team's position. I've been Dan Davis, this has been Kyle Army, and it has been a dramatic night's worth of racing. Make sure you tune in tomorrow night as Lexi will be bringing you all the action of the Pro-Ams. This has been the GT4's Driver of the Day. He's gone the way of Gary Leach, and that is that. I will catch you all on the flip side. Good night.